Hello, everybody. I'm coming. Dang, I'm getting choked. I am coming right now. Sorry about that. Make sure I got my glasses. Hey, happy Saturday, y'all. How's everybody doing? As you come in, hit the like button. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. So come on in. Excuse me. What is he using? What are you doing in here? He's choking us up, y'all. Burning the house down. Hey, Bridget. Hey, Harlem. You should turn that fan on. All right, y'all. I'm here about to choke. My husband is cooking and got this whole house smoky. I don't know what happened. About to burn the house down. But welcome, everybody. Come on in. Hit the like button as you come in. Yeah, need to melt that. Hit the like button. A lot to talk about. So, y'all, last night I went live really late, and Wright was on here. So me and Wright had a whole conversation for about 45 minutes. It was good though. But we went live super late. So anyway, as you come in, hit the like. If you share this out, or if you can, that would be amazing. I appreciate it. Still under the weather a little bit, not feeling the best, but we here. We are here. I'm starting to think I should be going back out to that to the going back out to the straight through the YouTube app. Um Harlem, I don't know, but we'll see what happens tonight. We'll stay here tonight and we'll see. Anyway, how's y'all Saturday been so far? I've been in the bed, kind of posting stuff, but just not feeling the best, but I'll be okay. We're going to talk about, so tonight we're definitely going to cover Sparkle, some more Rashona. We're going to talk about Nancy Grainer. And her disappearing, her kidnapping. We're going to talk about Glorilla and her sister and her siblings. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, y'all. Yeah, I think so. I think either way we've been gaining. So we almost there. We are almost there. It's been really good. So yeah, either way, I think. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. We're just going to talk about a plethora of things because we've kind of been missing our freestyle days and kind of focusing on Rashona. I don't know about reading this entire book. I mean, it's time to do chapter 3 together, but I don't know. We'll see, y'all. I guess that's what we still do, but there's a lot to talk about outside of that. So but I don't want to let that go by the wayside because I want her to make this a #1 bestseller. And I think she's well on her way with that. So if y'all haven't got the book or the audio or the Kindle, you gotta get this book. You got to get this book. If you was ever a fan of R. Kelly's, if you even just heard the stories of anything that R. Kelly did, to be honest, like was a super fan of his music, followed him all the way through, even did covered him this last not his trial, but as he was getting arrested, before he was getting arrested and all that stuff. And some of the things, as I said before, I was kind of side-eyeing people, but then some of the things I always said, wherever you're doing wrong, you have to pay for that. That's not just R. Kelly, that's anybody. Whatever it is you do wrong, you have to pay for it. So this book is really good. It's an attention getter, and we're gonna keep supporting Rashona over here. So anyway, we're gonna about 30 seconds. Let's just give it about 30 more seconds. We'll get started. Hit the like button. Where's my stand? I was gonna go live on TikTok too, just because. I think I got like 1 or 2 subs from TikTok too, so I think that's important. Anyway, the weather's pretty here. Harlem, did it warm up where you are? It has warmed up real nicely. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. Really pretty day. Today was pretty, just a little nippy just a little nippy. But I mean, the sun is shining. It's pretty. It's supposed to be kind of sprinkling in the morning, but nothing crazy. So I'm hoping Chicago is little nice in April. Like I don't know if they're deep in the winter in April, but I don't like no winter weather, and I have to go to Chicago. So anyway, it's 9 here in New Jersey. It's 9, and what are you talking about? Time like 9:47, like that? Or I was asking about the weather, or did somebody ask you about what time it was? It's still cold like that. Oh, I have to, but you're over there on the East Coast. Okay. It was like 69, 70 degrees today. So it was nice. Give me just a second, y'all. I'll be right back and then we'll just jump right into it. Okay, y'all, where do we start? Like, I don't know what to start with. So let's talk about Glow and her sister really quick. Okay, so we've all been hearing the story about Glorilla and her sister, her siblings. Now they're all coming out and they're pretty much fighting for Glorilla's money. And so people will beg to differ what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna give my opinion. Ah, this internet. I'm trying to share. Am I frozen? Am I frozen, y'all? Can y'all hear me? It's froze on my side. Um, it ain't nothing. Yeah, I don't see it, it's not coming. It gave me an error message and said that it wasn't working, but I'm sharing my screen. He got me choked. One more time. Anyway, let's just move on. It might pop up. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, Glorilla's sister had she's the fifth sibling. It's 10 of them, so she's right in the dead center. As all of us have seen, they are. She's saying that Glorilla is obligated to take care of her and her siblings and her family. And a lot of celebrities have come out and talked about it. It could. My gosh, y'all, sorry. House just smoky. Bridget, come get him. Come get him. Woo! But anyway, let me tell y'all, he in there cooking fried fish and shrimp. And how you got the house smoking like that? Like, did you burn something? Did you not turn fans on? Or gotta love him. So anyway, I digress. So anyway, here's my thing. First of all, when I heard her say it, I automatically thought there was an underlining issue with the family, right? Like something's going on, only to find that this sister allegedly pulled a gun on Glorilla. You haven't followed it, right? That's how I feel. Only to the reason that so she was saying that okay, let me back up. She came out saying that she was obligated, went on TMZ, and the question was posed to her, like, why is Gloria, this is what they was calling her, but Glorilla, why is she obligated, like, to take care of y'all, like to pay y'all bills or to give y'all money or whatever? And her response was like, she's obligated because we were in the struggle together. Like that right there, that response didn't even make sense to me. Listen, we might be in the struggle, but I'm gonna fight to get out. And Glorilla got it out the mud. She waited her turn. She got on, and it's her choice. Just my honest opinion. It's her choice to do with her money what she wants to do. Like she leave the girl. Um Corporate. Hey girl, welcome back. We've been missing you. But it's Glorilla's, it's her choice to do what she wants to do. If she chooses to take care of her mother and father and siblings, that's her choice. If she chooses not to, she don't have to. It's not her obligation. Now, like Wright was saying, he was like, just morally, his morals, like if he was to get any type of bag like that, he would take care of his family. That's where I am. Like, I would take care of my family, but it depends on what they went through, right? If you like, and then after she came out, then it came out that she had pulled a pow pow on Glow and went to jail for it. And I got the picture, but it won't let me pull it up. I don't know what's wrong with the internet. So if you if like you guys, before she became who she was 4 years ago, and y'all lived this horrible life, ate ketchup sandwiches, roaches, rats, whatever, and y'all did that together, Glorilla made a way for herself. She got out, she worked hard, it wasn't overnight success for her, and she made a life for herself. And so the obligation is not to her siblings. You don't, if Glorilla don't have any kids, then she has no obligation to anybody to pay anybody anything. When you have a child, that is your obligation because you brought that child in the world. Other than that, you don't have to pay nobody anything. What you do is you go get it. Like, you figure out what you're good at, and you go figure out what you're good at, and you go do that. You know, there's plenty ways to make money. And they're saying that the reason she came out is because she was broke. And so you used to be broke. I mean, like, that's where you come from, but go figure out what is next for you. And it's not dependent on Glorilla to give you nothing. And so they were like, well, if it was any amount of money that you would want from her, like, what do you want her to give us? $2,500 a piece. What? That's it? $2,500? That's it? That's all you want? Like, we could probably do a fundraiser and get you $2,500, right? So it's just disgusting that you would come out on the internet and raise HELL like you did on this internet with your putting your family stuff out there, right? So how Glorilla responded, she just started posting her being pretty, looking cute, her video shoots, her money up all the way up her arm, hundreds, you know. She hasn't really like came out and said directly to her sister anything. She just, if you noticed, if you followed it at all, she just started pushing. She just started posting stuff and showing her success. But like, I don't argue with them. Like, I wouldn't argue with them. So then another brother came out and he was like, listen, like, he said he said he's the baby brother, I think, or the 11th brother or something he said, but I thought it was just 10 kids. But he came out and he said that what he's mad about, what he's angry about, is that she came out and put the family name out there like that, right? That she came out and just splattered their business across the internet when they have a family chat, and all she had to do is get in that family chat and vent. Because he said, no, Glorilla don't do a lot for her family, but can we be thankful for the things she has done? Absolutely. Like, he came out very brilliant. Like, be thankful for what she has done. Like, he said, like, she bought their pops a car and it don't have no gas in it. He was like, well, what you want to do? Buy the car and keep putting gas in it for him? No, I bought you the car. The least you could do is keep gas in it. That's not her responsibility. It's not her responsibility. Then some other siblings came out. Like, it was a big mess. So then the fifth sister, she's Scarface or whatever her name is, she came out. Then she came out again after she was on TMZ, and she was like, oh my gosh, what if she put a hit on me? What if Glorilla sacrifices me? Because, you know, you hear about celebrities sacrificing a family member to be relevant in the business, right? So she kind of started thinking about that and saying she should have never did it. And her siblings was like, we told you, don't go live. Like, don't even do that. But she felt it necessary. She was like, F them all. She said, so this brother and another brother and a sister came out and they was live. And so the number 5 sister came out again and she was like, for real to her brother. And you the one that stole my drawers? You the one that stole my drawers and wore my drawers? And to her sister, you show your face because you're sitting over there with your hair all over your head, and is the house clean? Like just going in sibling rivalry all on the internet. And I think it's sad. I think that they shouldn't do it should stop. Just stop. You went on a whole interview with TMZ about it, about what you think Glorilla is obligated to do for you and your siblings. Well, my suggestion would be that you and your siblings go work, go, I don't know, what's your talent? Like whatever, go try to figure that out. But it's not on her to have to take care of y'all. She struggled. And so she also said that she's obligated to them because she's going on Glorilla's going on interviews talking about her story, giving her story and her how she struggled and how her mama spanked them really bad, and how they called the fifth sister called CPS on them because she was tired of her mama beating them and all kind of stuff. But she's like, you can go on interviews and talk about the struggle, then you need to be taking care of us. If you're one of us that made it, you need to reach back and take care of all of us. It's just not an obligation. She said that the one brother said he called her and said, you know, I ran out of money. I don't have no money. I need to get my diabetes medicine. And Glo told him, eat a Snicker. And he said, it's not funny. But he was like, he's never called and asked her for nothing else. Like he ain't mad. He ain't put it all out there or whatever. But after she didn't send the coins and told him to go eat a Snicker, like that was it. He wasn't asking her no more, but he ain't mad at her about it. So, you know, so it's sad that you have to splatter your family business on the internet like that. All families have some kind of disagreements from time to time. But you don't just go, I'm not a believer of going to the internet and just putting it all out there like that. So anyway, that is Glorilla and her family. I just want Glorilla just to keep moving, keep doing what you're doing. Like you are relevant in this business right now. And so do what you're doing, keep that going. And just like it wasn't a brother, but it was a celebrity that came out, and they was like, they don't know what Glorilla have to, like when you get signed to a label, they front you money. So you got to go on tour, you got to work your butt off to get off from under the monies that they gave you up front. So they don't know if she's gotten that taken care of, if she got to make payments on it. Like they don't know what she got going on. And $1 million is not a lot of money. I mean, she got millions of dollars, but they don't know what she has to do, you know, to be in this game and her obligation to the label. So anyway, that's that on that. That is that on that. Hey, beauty, it's me. Hey, girl. It's been a minute. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Thank y'all all for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button as you come in. Also, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We do appreciate it, but don't forget to hit the like button because it keeps us in the algorithm. We headed to 10K. We this far from 10K, and I'm excited about that. We've been trying to get there, and so we're just about there, and I'm excited for that. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're very respectful over here. We give respect and we expect respect. So anyway, let's move it on because we got a lot to talk about. I want to get into Savannah's mom. Hold on, I'll just do it from my iPad. So Savannah Guthrie's mom, Savannah Guthrie is a anchor, a news anchor, very successful news anchor. Everybody kind of knows her or whatever. And so her mom was kidnapped is what we're hearing. And so they came with a timeline. So basically what we heard in the beginning is that she was missing. and they were pleading and begging, saying, listen, she cannot go a day without her medicine. She has to have her meds. She's 88 years old. And she just help us find her, only to inevitably, ultimately find out that she's being held for ransom. Now, the authorities there say that holding somebody for ransom is very rare. They don't really have those kind of situations, right? But what happened was that fan ain't even helping me. But what happened was, this whoever had her has her, um, sent like a ransom letter to a news station, and the news station immediately turned it over to the authorities. They have been on top of it. Every law enforcement person around them has been on it. So they came up with this timeline about her whereabouts, because what they last knew was not Savannah. She has two girls and a boy, and the not Savannah, but the other daughter had picked her up, that gone over to the house. They had spent time together, played games, had a nice evening, and got home about 9:48. About 9:48, the garage goes up. She goes in the house, and about 9:52, the garage shuts. About 1:48 or one-ish, whatever, around, these are approximate times, the camera sees something or someone moving. Is it an animal? Is it a person? The cameras are unplugged. They go down. The cameras go down. The next thing is her machine, whatever machine her mom needs, I can't remember, but that shuts down, right? It's about one something in the morning. The fact of that there was no actual subscription to where, so the alarm works, but if you have a subscription to see inside the house, to see things outside, something like that, that whatever that subscription costs for, you couldn't see who, if it was an animal or if it was a person on that video at about 1:48, but their forensics are still, working on it. So they get this ransom and they get some deadlines, right? So Friday, I believe, was a deadline, and they won't tell you what it says specifically, but it was a very heinous deadline, right? But Monday's deadline is like a very horrific deadline, right? So if they don't get what they want, then something horrific happens. Savannah, so then her brother comes out and was like, listen, we're ready to talk. Like, give us our mama back. Like, we're ready to talk. We gotta know for sure that you have her, first of all, that she's well, okay, and that you need to talk to us. Do those things so we can move forward. We're ready to move forward. We need our mother back. So there has been a gentleman that has been arrested in this investigation on in reference to the mother that has been kidnapped. Now, I don't know how much he's talking, but like Wright always says, the first person to get arrested is that person that's gonna give them what they want, so they can kind of get the best deal they can get, right, if they're involved. But he has been arrested, but there's somebody else involved that has their mother. So today they came out and was like, listen, we will pay, because there is a $50,000 reward if they can get, any information that gets to their mother. So there's a $50,000 reward that is out. But there's also this, obviously, whoever they are is asking for money, or whatever, and they're saying, we will pay. Like, just tell us what you want. Just tell us who you are. Talk to us, but they won't talk to him. Okay, so let me pull it up and see what the very latest is. It's just so strange. I really would be interested in knowing Like, I would be just interested in knowing like what like is the whole reason for targeting her mom is because of money. Like why her? Why are you kidnapping a why are you kidnapping an older senior citizen lady? Like, and then I'm wondering like when the garage came up at 9:48 and they dropped her off, was they already in her house? Because it doesn't seem like, did they say the garage came up again at 1:48? Let me see if I can find the timeline. Hmm.
Minutes. Think about it. I hadn't really thought of it in those terms up until you laid out the new timeline last night. That's a long time. And the sheriff is saying that there's additional DNA evidence that they're waiting on the results of. So clearly they did find something else inside that was DNA related. We just don't know what. Jonathan, let me start with you on that. It's a long time, 41.
Yeah, sure. You know what this kind of points me towards, Megan? First of all, we're putting so much attention. Everybody is looking at ransom, that it's easy to overlook the other possibilities. And the fact that you honed in on this is really good, the 41 minutes, because that could be the time period when somebody was looking for something. So they go into the house, there was no robbery, but were they looking for something else? Is there paperwork? Is there something going on that we don't know about with Miss Guthrie, and somebody was in there trying to find something in particular? Because I can't think of any other reason for them to be in there for that long. It's not like they're going to interrogate her before they kidnap her. So it would be a quick in and a quick out typically. So it almost appears just from this timeline that somebody may have been in there.
Okay.
And then perhaps.
All right, I got the timeline. I found it. So here's the timeline. So on gosh, I was wondering why. Harlem said, I was wondering, we went off. I was wondering why her as well. If Wright was here, he would know. Yes, he would know. He stayed with me last night for a long time. I was like, right, I just love your responses. But anyway, Saturday, January 31st at 5:32 p.m., Nancy Guthrie takes an Uber to her family's home for dinner. So they didn't pick her up. She took an Uber there. At 9:48, I was correct on that, Guthrie is dropped off at her Tucson, Arizona home by a family member. The garage door opens at 9:48. At 9:50, the garage door closes. At 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera is disconnected. That is so eerie. At 2:12 a.m., the camera software detects movement, but there is no video available since Guthrie did not have an active subscription with the company, meaning the footage was not saved. Okay, so they got they're able to, the system that she has is able to detect people, but they don't record it and save it at the company because she don't have that type of subscription. So they couldn't see who it was. Then it says that morning at 11:50. So that's at 2:28 a.m. Oh, no. That was 2:12 a.m. At 2:28 a.m., Guthrie's pacemaker app disconnects from her phone. Oh my gosh. At 11:56 a.m., Guthrie's family checks on her after she did not show up for church. At 12:03 p.m., Guthrie's family calls 911 to report a missing person. At 12:15 p.m., investigators arrive and launch a search operation, including the use of drones and search dogs. That's at 12:16 p.m. At 6:46 p.m. on Sunday, The Pima County Sheriff's Department post on social media to announce Guthrie's disappearance. At 9:00 p.m., Pima County Sheriff Chris Narrows speaks to reporters near Guthrie's house and says he hopes it is a search and rescue mission, meaning they're going to search for her and find her. Monday, February the 2nd, authorities on Monday morning announces that they believe Guthrie was kidnapped, abducted, and otherwise taken against her will. On Monday, the KOLD TV says it received an email Monday night that appears to be a ransom note. The note includes a demand for money with a deadline set for 5:00 p.m. Thursday, and a second one for Monday investigation saying, so this Monday coming up. Savannah Guthrie posted a message on Instagram on Monday night asking for people's prayers. Tuesday, February the 3rd, a person familiar with the investigation tells the Associated Press that investigations found signs of forced entry at Guthrie's home. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office on Tuesday afternoon, President Donald Trump tells reporters that the situation is terrible. You could have saved that. On February the 4th, that was Wednesday, after turning back Guthrie's property, after turning back Guthrie's property to her, after turning back Guthrie's property to her family earlier in the week, authorities on Wednesday returned to the home for a follow-up investigation. Savannah Guthrie on Wednesday night posted a video on social media in which she tells her mother's kidnapper that her family is ready to talk, but wants proof that she is alive. On Thursday night, the investigators say they have no proof that Nancy Guthrie is still alive, but are holding out hope she is still out there. Officials revealed that a DNA test of blood found on the home's front porch showed that it came from Guthrie. Oh no. Dang. The FBI offers a $50,000 reward for information about Guthrie's whereabouts. Oh gosh, this is terrible. Do I think it's an inside job? I don't, and the reason that I don't think so is because the fact that they said that it was that it was forced entry, and that now we know that they weren't in there waiting for her because it was about 1:48 in the morning that the cameras were disconnected. So, but again, I'm thinking, was she the target? What was the reason for that? It's super sad. It is super sad. She lived alone, thought that the cameras would protect her, and she is kidnapped, and they don't even know that she's still alive. They're sending ransom letters. If you want the money, talk to them. Tell them do you have her? Is she still alive? That's the big question. If you have her, she's still alive, and you can prove it, we want to pay you. We'll pay you whatever. Just give us our mom back. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, and I pray and hope that it turns out that she comes back, they can get her back on her medicine and she's fine from this. She's an older lady. Can y'all imagine her heart being scared? All the emotions she's going through, don't know who these people are, like there's no answers. And so hopefully I'm hoping that they find her alive and they can just get past this. But what I was going to say is that at the end of the day, no matter what, whoever has her, unless they unalive themselves, are going to be caught. They're not going to stop till they get them. Savannah, on the strength of Savannah being this big news anchor, they're not going to stop until they find who it is. They already got a man in custody. They got some DNA, but again, it was her. So how did they force themselves in? Did they break a window? Did they kick the door in? Like how did that happen? Because do they know, like, is it an inside job? Like, did they know that she didn't have the subscription? Like, I have so many questions, just like, so I can imagine what her kids are saying or thinking about it. So we can almost get there, right, Bridget, because of the fact that here's my thoughts when you say that. You got Savannah Guthrie, who is a huge person known across the country, right? They wanted this to be a big deal, whoever did it, so to make sure that they could get paid, get the money that they're asking for. Do they have intentions to hurt her, to unalive her? I don't know. It's so many scenarios that it could be, but it could be somebody they know. They did say the investigators went back to the other daughter's home and went inside, and they was bringing stuff from outside of the other daughter's home. But they said they've all been cooperating. They've all like kind of passed the test. So I'm just not sure. But no, at the end of the day, we just hope, I pray that Miss Guthrie is okay and that they get who did this. Savannah, I'm not sure. It's odd. We talked about this last night. It seems they are good at the kidnapping. No tire tracks, no footprints, destroyed the camera, but very bad at the reason part. No contacts, no proof of life, TV film, real life. There's a way to do this that everybody knows. Yeah, I was telling them, we talked about it. I'm just really confused at why. And I don't want her hurt. I do not want that woman hurt. So we'll continue to follow this as it unfolds, because every waking moment they are on this around the clock. And it's going to come to a head either way. I hate to say it like that, but either way, it'll come to a head. And we'll know ultimately what the end's going to be in this. Super sad. So, moving on. So Harlem, I think we also talked about last night, and I don't think you were here, Ransom partner. Oh, he says Guthrie family said they will pay. Yeah, we talked about that. Said they would pay earlier tonight, and I kept thinking that they could be this could be a double cross. If the goal is to hurt Savannah, they get the money and still hurt her. It's just all strange. It's just all very strange. Because for what reason? Like, Savannah hasn't hurt anybody. Like, I don't know. Hopefully it's not political and we aren't in some new era of going after people's family members. Lord Jesus. At this point, like, what the heck? The world we live in. All right. So, Harlem, what do you think about Tim Busfield and his indictment? We talked about this a little bit last night. Knew it was coming. But I was telling Wright that we didn't think that, it would even get so much as get to the trial because of the lack of evidence or the lack of how the prosecutor presented themselves or whatever, but they actually came with an indictment and actually added one to it. Instead of 3 counts, it's 4 counts in this indictment on Tim Busfield. But like I was saying last night, also, I think that this man is guilty of, these are my opinion only, I think allegedly that he is guilty of doing these types of things and he's been in the business too long. And for too long, it was overlooked. For too long, it was just accepted. It was just turn your eyes the other way. Unsee what you just saw. Unhear what you just heard. You know, and so I think that he's guilty, but I don't know that they have enough to prosecute him unless, like we said last night, right? They didn't give us everything in that little few minute court hearing where they let him out, that they're going to bring all the heat when it comes to the trial. I know that you can't tell me that they're not getting in those boys' head. They're older now too. So they said no, he never did that to them and then switched on them, but now they're older. So will they just make the decision, just like, let's just tell the truth and put it out here? What is the truth? And let's just tell that. Let's just talk about that. What is the truth? And maybe they'll come and tell the truth and he will be convicted. But an indictment, probably it was going to come because the prosecution was looking crazy and they had to go make it up, get themselves together. And so they came back with an indictment because the DA just knew they were going to hold him incarcerated until trial. But the judge that was in that courtroom that day was like, no, let him go. And there's no stipulations. Like, you have nothing on him. I was surprised, but they may have more information. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's the only way that they can bring this indictment, is that they feel like they have enough to convict. You can't just be throwing indictments out there and they feel like they have enough to convict on it. So that's why they have it. But I just feel like if that's the case, she just didn't share with us. She just didn't perform. Like, maybe she's going to perform in the trial, but we're going to see, because we're going to be there. We're going to figure it out. The cameras you can see in real time, but the only record backup to the cloud is if you pay for the subscription service. Yeah, she didn't have that. She paid for the equipment and it does what it's supposed to do. But like the recordings and those extra perks, that's the subscription that she didn't have, which is strange. Maybe, an older woman living alone, give it to me all. We want our mom to have it all. But, they wasn't thinking like that. Who would have thought? Let me see. Sorry, y'all. I think they are keeping details tight. They definitely know more. Oh, yeah. Again, she didn't give us, obviously, she didn't give us what she gonna give us in a trial because he's indicted. Now he's indicted. They were staying in this beautiful $1 million Airbnb. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. In New Mexico, where he's got to go to court. So I don't know if he's still, because he hasn't been seen since he got out, but I don't know if he's now going to just live in New Mexico while he goes to trial, because it's going to come. Trial is liable to last 2 or 3 years. Or not, maybe not. I don't know, but it takes a while for a trial. So anyway, Tim Busfield has been indicted officially in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where they were filming the cleaning lady in that city and state. And that's where the crime was allegedly supposed to have happened. So we'll continue to follow that story and see what it do. All right. So moving on. I hope this plays because I'm gonna need this to play. Let's try it again. Thank y'all for being here tonight. I came a little bit earlier than I did last night. I came in late last night, but I had mentioned that I would be a little late. It was a prince's birthday last night. My beauty. All right, so let's see if this is what I want to hear. I want y'all to hear. I want to talk about this. So we're going to get into Rashona and Sparkle really quick. And I want to know what y'all thinking about Sparkle. I really do. Listen, Harlem, with every fiber in me. Thank you. I'll tell her she pop in here that you said happy birthday. Bridget's goddaughter, my BFF's goddaughter. She's her god mommy. But listen, this is what I was gonna say. With ever fiber and being in me, Harlem, everybody, I think Sparkle's not being honest. And the reason that she needed to come and pop out and respond is to, speak up for herself. But there's no way in this world that Sparkle is ever going to come out and say that she told Rashona to sit on R. Kelly's lap and rub his head. She's not going to come out and say, you know what? Yeah, I did say that. I did do that. But Harlem makes a point, y'all. She says, and the interview, I got it here, but it was kind of a long interview, and we can talk about it. The latest interview. But like you were saying, Harlem, and it's true, like even before R. Kelly started grooming Rashona, her aunt was really like the groomer. And then she's gonna make a point where she says, well, even if I was intimate with Robert, you and your mom would be okay with you being with him. Rashona was 14, 12, 14, like she was a kid. So she just went along with what the adults told her to do. So you can't say, yeah, if I chose to do that. She didn't know. She was just there. And then by the time he got to her, allegedly, and from her book, we're speaking about Rashona's story from her book. By the time he got to her and start having those phone calls with her and grooming her, she was all about the celebrity man. Oh my God, this millionaire. And he wants me? Like, right? She was a super fan and she was young and she was in the business too. They were all in this business, this grimy business. And so let's just hear what Sparkle say and then let's talk about that.
To say not all that you heard yesterday from my niece is true. I don't want to hinder this legal process. I don't. But to testify that I had my niece sit on Robert's lap and rub his head and have her ask him to be her godfather is an absolute fucking lie. You all cannot imagine the hurt that comes from pain caused by the people that you live and are willing to die for. Another lie. Robert and I were never in a romantic relationship. Never. To show you sabotage is a highly priority within them. If Robert and I were in a romantic relationship, you and your mom was cool allowing you to start a relationship with him, again, no right answers for their actions. This journey of mine, I started with the greatest of intentions, and all I've gotten from it is hell.
Was that it? So I'm glad you said that, Harlem, because I was thinking, what does she mean? She's not trying to hinder the legal process. So this is something she had recorded during the trial, and said she was not going to get up there and testify to that. So Rashona had said that in trial that this happened before she wrote the book. So she said what y'all heard yesterday. So that must have been when she was on the stand in court. So what you saying? Harlem says Sparkle posted, yeah, she posted a statement on her IG after the book came out and said that her post was that, you know, she's proud of her niece and that she came out and she's telling her truth or whatever, you know, and she wishes her the best. So she did, but like you said, Harlem, if you're not not even willing to admit that you have been married before and you keep not being honest about that, what else are you not being honest about? She said that she absolutely did no testify. I mean, no, she absolutely did no grooming with Rashona. Like she didn't do that. Now, Rashona did say that she didn't feel like, again, she's 12. She didn't feel like she was being groomed. She wouldn't even know what grooming is at 12 years old. She said she just thought she was just telling her how to keep herself properly clean. But I mean, I could be a bad person for saying this, a horrible person. People might say this. Hey, unique thoughts, but I feel like I just feel like the kind of conversation she was having with her at 12 years old, and that started the process, right? So anyway, when we get into started the process of the grooming, right? But when we get into chapter 3, she talks about beauty is me. How come the ages keep changing? So if I'm correct, and Harlem, you can help me on this. Thank you for being here. Welcome. That she said she was 12 years old when she first got with Robert. Like they asked in this interview, like, how did she meet him? And she said she met Robert through her aunt, which, you know, her aunt brought her. Her aunt said she had good intentions, like, right. It wasn't about any of this. But in the book is there is, I'll tell you. Ooh, that smoke is still up my nose. But it is chapter 15 chapters. Well, it's a grace note. It's 14 chapters and a grace note. So when you get into chapter 3, what you'll find is that you're gonna hear where this conversations started happening on the telephone. Like she said that he had, you know, was just taking the family out to like Cheesecake Factory. Yes, that's the audio. That's how long it is. The audio is just taking them out for no reason. Like they was really like she had it in her at home in her room. She had her own phone line. And so her and Robert would every day get on the phone and they would talk about how each other's day went, you know, and it started out being really innocent to him asking her what she was wearing. Then the conversation started where he started like talking about her body and what he wanted to do and how to her and that it was time that they've done everything else, like everything else besides him actually penetrating her, and that it was time to do that. She talks about how she in this interview she had today, she talked about how she had to be in the studio with other women that he was bringing to the studio, like either he had been with them or they were somebody that would kind of like throw everybody off to think that he was with them when it was really her that she was with. It talks about this book. She's also going to talk about having relationships with other women of Robert's, and that he never asked her if she was gay or if she was bisexual, if she liked boys, if she liked girls. Like, it was just something that she had to do. And so she had to be with other women. And that's the point. I was like, well, will she ever say in the book that she and Andrea had a relationship? She only talked good about her so far. I haven't got through it, but talked good about her and how she would take her shopping and how they would watch movies together. And every time she asked to stay the weekend over there, her parents would let her stay the weekend over there because she wanted to spend time with her godparents. And then they had their first daughter, and she was kind of helping with the baby or whatever. And so she was enjoying that, but her parents would allow her to do that. Now Sparkle is saying, it wasn't me. Your parents took you to R. Kelly. So if anybody know, I just want to know, like, what do you mean? Like, took him to, like, because Sparkle introduced him to the family, which got Greg the job. And so are we saying that, is she saying that is Sparkle saying that dad kept taking her to the studio over and over and allowing her to be in the studio? Because she said that she would catch the train to his sometimes she would catch the train to the office, and she would do her homework at the studio. I'm not the office, the studio is what I meant. And she would do her homework at the studio. Sometimes she'd end up staying there. But the studio is where it was just where he would take advantage of her. The studio is where she lost her virginity to him. So a lot of stuff happened in the studio with her. So you'll hear a lot about that in the third chapter. So this is also where Sparkle had already told her that that Sparkle and Robert had an intimate relationship, told Rashona that, and where he bought her a Gucci bracelet, and that she divulged that to Rashona that she had a new boyfriend, and that the new boyfriend, this is part of chapter 2. But so Robert did eventually come and ask Rashona, did Sparkle have a boyfriend? And she wasn't supposed to tell. She said yes. And he said, do you know who the boyfriend is? She said yes. He said, who is it? She told him Steve Hess, and Sparkle's career fell apart like Sparkle told her it would happen. So that's pretty much how far I've gotten. I didn't know if you guys wanted me to read chapter 3, or we just going to do whatever. I know Wright doesn't want us to read it on live. He just say go read it and talk about it. But we had majority wanting to read chapter 3. Read the book together. So let me see. Grooming, any method of coercion, smoothing, or favoritism that downplays current or further motives. Absolutely. That's the definition. Robert was telling in chapter 3, she says that Robert tells her that she's a godsend, that she's supposed to be there with him. She's his angel, and nobody else would understand that God sent her. And this is also when he would tell her to call him daddy. And she was saying that, she was like, I call my daddy, but I don't do the kind of things and lay up in the bed with him and do these kind of things with my real daddy. He was like, so what do you want to call me? She said, Robert. And he was like, no, call me daddy. And so she would end up calling him daddy. And was telling her, like, he knows it's a godsend for her to be in his life, because she doesn't judge him. She doesn't judge him like other people would. He said in one part, he said, these haters out here wouldn't understand what we got. They don't want me to have you. They want me all effed up in the mind. And so Rashona asked him, he said, are you effed up? And not like that, but she was just like, are you? And he was like, well, because she didn't know what to say. And he was basically told her, well, not anymore now that I have you. And that he said, not now, not anymore, not with you, baby. His voice was just a whisper, but it set off fireworks inside of me. Robert ran his thumbs over my eyebrow. over his eyebrow, and then over mine. His actions, a secret sign of love for me that he do whenever he was on stage, sent a wave of contentment through me. My mind turned over this complicated and beautiful feeling of being needed by a man so rich. And then he asked her, "Will you always be here for me?" And she was like, I guess. And he was like, got really mad. Like, what do you mean you guess? That's the wrong answer, Shona, whatever he called her, show. That's the wrong answer. Like, will you always be here for me? And I think she's at this time 13 or 14. And she was like, yes, I'll always be there, because he got really mad. So she said, yes, she'll always be up there. Caught up, right? And then so the word, so he said, he pulled up one corner of my lip. He pulled up one corner of his lips into a smile. I can't hear you. He drank my immature nipple into his mouth like a baby hungry for milk. My body was aflame. Then he stopped. The answer is yes, show. Your answer is always, to me, yes. Always yes. And she said, yes, I whispered. Yes, what? Yes, Robert. We were the only two people in the room. I was afraid I was messing up again. He said, call me daddy. The word changed around in my head and dumped, the word clanged around in my head and dumped ice water on the flames that had threatened to consume me only a moment before. Daddy? I called my father daddy. I love my daddy, but I didn't lie down naked with him and please him like I did with Robert. Did you hear me, show? Yes. Yes, what? But I called my dad. Are you effing kidding me right now? Are you bringing another man into this bed? No, Robert. I mean, well, what do you want to call me? She said, Robert. But I knew that was the wrong answer. Tell me. I don't know. I lowered my head ashamed. You should, because I already told you. Robert's breath was hot on my face. I wanted to turn my face away from him, but I knew that would make him angry. What we have is special, show. If you love me like I love you, then you need to do what I say, because I love you so hard it hurts, baby. I love you so hard it hurts, baby. And I can protect you. Do you understand? Yes, Daddy. It felt like my brain turned on a white noise machine just as a new wave of excitement moved through Robert's body. It was time for me to be an angel again. So pretty much that's what you're going to get in chapter 3. There was a time in chapter 3 that she had a basketball game. Her parents weren't going to be able to make it. And so he said that he would be there. And she was like really not wanting him to be there because this was the finals and or a championship or something. And every time Robert showed up to the games, all the attention would go to him. Like people would want to take pictures. He's at the height of his career at this time. He would take pictures with people would want to take pictures of him. The team wanted to play and perform better because he was there. So it was all crazy. And she just wanted it just to be a normal, game and just let us all be normal. But this big celebrity was in the building. So everybody, even the referees, did things differently. Like everybody was putting on a show for R. Kelly at the time. And so she said, he goes on to say, yes, Daddy, I felt the heat of his breath threaten to melt my frozen face and reveal the cesspool of emotions gurgling within me. That's why I hate chemistry. I cleared my throat, choked down the sour stomach that crept into my mouth, tried to blow my mind of any thoughts. The best I could do was psych myself up for whatever Robert wanted me to do. He said, SEX is a form of art, show, an expression of art, and I'm an artist. I need to express myself inside of you, not just on top of you or under you. You need to stop stalling because I'm ready for you. And you know you're ready for me too. Your body's calling me. He's saying the last sentence to me. He's saying the last sentence to me, a reference to his 1993 song. And then he chuckled. So she goes on to say, my virginity, that is, my avoidance of the act of actual intercourse, was the only thing I had managed to keep from Robert. He had tested and measured me, all without penetration. Maybe this was what my English teacher meant when he was trying to explain to my class the other day the meaning of distinction without a difference, and I couldn't think of a good example. Maybe I was drawing a line in my mind and calling myself a virgin, a distinction that didn't make a difference, but it made a difference to me. Apparently, it made a difference to Robert too. I was 15 now, a sophomore in high school, and Robert said I was ready. So basically, she's saying, and it was until she was 15 years old that he actually penetrated her. She was 15. He said, a man needs things from a woman. I'm an actual man show. You know that. God has given me my musical gifts, my actual urges, and you. He done gave me all of that. He licked his lips. And show, you already know it's time. I've already had you in a lot of ways. This is how we get closer to each other. She said, he kissed me. You see what's around me, show? I can have anybody I want. You know that? But I choose you. So quit acting scared now. You done everything else. I've seen it, touched it, licked it. You don't need to tell me no SH about what you can't do. It's what we need to go higher in our love. I watched him do himself casually through his sag jeans as his body grew more excited in anticipation of my yes. He penetrated me with his stare. But if you say no, I'm gonna find somebody else who'll say yes. I followed his logic. My body had already felt done and tasted more things than I wanted to admit, things I was embarrassed by and ashamed of. So why was I holding out? I could see the thought bubble above Robert's head as he licked his lips meaningfully. I can be replaced. The seed of jealousy that had been planted within me 2 years before, when I knew Aunt Sparkle was giving Robert something he wanted, and that had been watered by the pressure to please him, now sprouted as fear. If I said no, there was another girl, woman, boy who would say yes. This is how he compelled my yes. Well, what's a girl's yes to the full size of a grown man? Unique says, when gets out, he's going to sing a song telling his side of the story. I would love to hear what he has to say about it. They said that he did just wish her the best and everything she did, never, really said anything. But I mean, I would be interested in seeing what he had to say about the time that she was in his home and she started coming around and being with him and his family a lot. Like, I would be interested in that as well. Okay. I guess we can just do these last couple. It's just a couple more pages. She said, Robert poured himself into me, and Robert poured himself into me, and I responded. I'm human after all, but I knew I had lost the thing. I had lost the last thing I had tried to hold on to, and I knew there would be more dares and new levels. That scared me. With every thrust of him that crushed the breath out of my lungs, I began to understand that Robert's passion was an addiction, his and mine. After he came, he whispered into the space above my head, best remember how I made you feel just now, Joe. How I love to love you. That weight of his words was heavier than his body on top of me. I shook my head, my braids dragging across his chest. My basketball team had won the game, and we were now in the playoffs. Neither mom or dad would be able to make our first playoff game due to a prior commitment. But when I told Robert I'd be flying solo, he had a different idea. I can come cheer you on. I can come cheer you on, my favorite girl. Oh, yeah? Robert's words sounded innocent. But somewhere in my body, I felt like a test or a dare was coming. Something. Why you saying it like that, Show? You know I'm a fan of basketball and a fan of you. I knew, I knew. I also knew that whenever Robert came, he stole all of the attention. I mean, people came to the game regardless of whether he was there, of course. But when he came, everybody cranked up the dial on their performance. Both our team and the opponents played harder. The fans cheered louder. The refs were more dramatic, and the spectators gawked at Robert and tried to get pictures with him, no matter what was happening on the court. It was fun to have him sometimes, but this was the playoffs. I didn't want him to distract me or make the refs and our opponents feel like they had to put on a show for him. I know, my voice was flat. Robert raised his eyebrow. Daddy, I added. Then what's with the fact? Is it that you got a boyfriend you don't want me to be there, or that you don't want me to know about? He smiled, but his voice had an edge. No, Daddy. Well, all right then. Side. Okay. Well, all right then. Side. You got some cuties up in your school, don't you? Don't you think? You got some cuties up in your school, don't you think? I frowned. Girls? Sure. There were plenty of cute girls and cute boys for that matter, but I wasn't checking for any of them like that. I was so consumed with loving Robert that I hadn't given much thought to who else I might like. Robert liked threesomes. Robert liked threesomes, though. Robert liked threesomes, though, and I had been intimate with several girls and women of Robert's choosing when the mood struck him. But even through those experiences were designed to produce a actual response to me. I didn't think I was a lesbian. At least I thought I preferred boys over girls. But Robert never asked me what I preferred or who I liked. It was always about who he liked and what he wanted us to do to each other or to please him. If we got some pleasure out of it, that was like a bonus. Wow. But girls at school were different. Girls at school were my classmates and teammates. I had a relationship with them outside of Robert, so him crushing on them made me nervous. You worried, Show? No need for that. Ain't nobody at that school gonna replace you. If that's what you're concerned about, you're my best one. You know that. But they're my friends, Daddy, and I thought you didn't want anyone to know. We're not gonna tell just anyone, are we? No, Daddy, of course not. I felt dizzy. Then you find some cuties with the tight lips, he snickered, and maybe we'll have some fun. We'll see. You can just introduce me to some of your girlfriends who could be down. I'll let you know if I agree. My team lost the game. We were out of the playoffs, but our loss didn't ruin the energy in the gym. We were at the school of the opposing team, and they weren't accustomed to having R. Kelly attend a girls' basketball game. Robert was his regular charming self, smiling for pictures with kids, parents, coaches, and the entire family at every time out for the entire game. I was trying to focus, but it was hard. Squeals of delight broke out at random times, and my teammates seemed as distracted as I was. After all, the hubbub died down following the game. I walked over to Robert with a schoolmate I'll call Brittany. Brittany was about a year older and liked to make scandalous jokes about how she knew R. Kelly had to be a satisfying lover because the lyrics of his songs. Usually I just laughed and shook my head and brushed it off. But this time I brought her over to Robert to see if he liked her. She was shy and kept shooting her eyes over him, unable to look at him directly. Girl, you making me nervous now, Robert chuckled. Why don't the three of us get a picture? Robert put his arms around both of our waists while his driver snapped a picture. Nice meeting you, Brittany. Maybe Rashona can bring you by the studio sometime. Okay, Brittany was breathless. On the next school day, I went on a little fishing expedition. When Brittany and I could speak privately, I worked with the conversation around to Robert in the way that he had coached me. Girl, you lucky. I'm sure I couldn't control myself around R. Kelly. He's just too fine. What makes you think I have? I made a coy smile and waited. Wait, what, Shaw? What are you telling me right now? Nothing. If you don't lower your damn voice and calm down. Okay, my bad. But what the hell are you saying? Brittany's voice was an excitable whisper. I mean, like you said, he's crazy as all get out. So I do have a little crushy crush. Brittany smacked her lips. Sounds like your crush ain't like my crush. Sounds like you did something about it. Maybe I did. I tried to follow Robert's script, gauge her interest, tease her, but don't give her details. See if she can keep secrets. Then spill it, Sean. Suppose I tell you something and then I hear it come back to me. Then what? Girl, you know you can trust me. I don't kiss and tell. How do I know that? Because Brittany couldn't think of anything that would be an adequate measure. Well, have you heard SH about me with anyone? No, maybe that's because you haven't been with anyone. I shot back. Brittany looked offended. Well, I have. I looked at her pursed lips and arms crossed over her chest. I didn't want to make her mad. Robert had already given me the sign that he liked her, so I couldn't mess things up. Okay, tell me the most embarrassing thing you've ever done. You mean like fart in public? Brittany seemed genuinely confused. No, everybody's done that. I rolled my eyes and thought again. I needed to be more specific. Who's the most embarrassing person you've kissed before? Brittany looked sheepish. Sheepish. Pinky, she whispered. That's because this guy I like said he liked her, but if I kissed her, then he'd kiss me. Okay, I nodded and smiled. Would you kiss me if you had to? For R. Kelly, I'd do whatever. Brittany looked through me. She must have been seeing Robert in her imagination. You really got it bad for him, I laughed. Sounds like maybe you do too. Maybe. Her hands brought me back to the job I was supposed to be doing. I played coy again. Let's talk at the end of the week. I'll if I hear anything about this conversation, I'm gonna tell folks about you and Pinky. But if you know how to keep private stuff private, then maybe you'll get to tell R. Kelly just how much you like him. Oh, S.H. Sean, really? I'll talk to you Friday, Brittany. I'm gonna go use the restroom. No, I'm gonna pee my pants. Don't do that. Just be cute on Friday, okay? Sure, okay. Overcome with excitement, Brittany hugged me hard. I watched her walk away. She was cute in the ways Robert liked. Petite with a small waist and a heart-shaped butt, and just the right sexy schoolgirl wardrobe to accentuate both. So since she was his type, since she was his type, she was mine. Does that make sense? No, does that make me a lesbian? I'm gonna read that again. So since she was his type, she was mine. Does that make me a lesbian or at least bi? I don't know. I had kissed girls Robert wanted me to kiss. Sometimes they were blindfolded and naked when I first saw them. I knew how their bodies looked, but not their faces. How they kissed, but not how they talked. But I knew Brittany's name and face. I knew how she talked and the clothes she liked to wear. She was a real person to me. What would it mean if I kissed her, if I touched her? Friday came. Brittany could keep secrets. Robert picked us both up from school that day, and I learned what it was like to kiss her. I felt like my submission and Robert's approval. What was it like to touch her? It felt like Brittany's willingness and Robert's pleasure. Brittany's actual experiences had only been with peers up until to that point. I was the knowledgeable one, skilled in teaching less experienced girls like Brittany what Robert liked, while keeping them willing. Brittany wanted to learn whatever I had to teach her. That's it. That's chapter 3. So pretty much what we're hearing is that now he has her going to bring him young girls as well. I would like to hear from Brittany, which we know Brittany is not her real name. But is that her best friend or become her best friend? Like, what was her best friend's name? Beauty is me. I'm thinking about making a video giving my thoughts. I don't know. Okay. So that's chapter 3. Was Brittany the girl who did the TikTok dance? So did it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who is Rashona's best friend. I hear a lot about a best friend that Robert did. Her and Robert did. And I'm thinking, is that who Brittany is? Because she's not giving the real name. So Unique Thoughts, you have a YouTube channel? You want to come up here and give me your thoughts? Remember, we just respect we respect everybody's opinion. If you want to, I'll drop the link. If anybody wants to, I'll drop the link. Let me know. So that's chapter 3. I'm really gonna read like a lot of this tonight and try to kind of move along. It's 14 chapters. I'm only on 4. But I'm really curious about. Okay, I would, but I'm at work. Oh, okay. No worries. Brittany is the name she used for the best friend. Okay, so that is her best friend. I was just wondering if that was the best friend. So who's the TikTok person then, Harlem? Is it the same person? Because I'm not sure who what's up with the TikTok person. But anyway, what I'll say is that there is if you had a spectrum, like this was the spectrum, right? I feel like it's right down the dead middle that people don't believe what Rashona is saying in this book, and a lot of people do believe what she's saying in this book happened. Which everybody has their own. Excuse me, y'all. Has their own opinions. Brittany on TikTok was her cousin. She backed out. Oh, her cousin backed out of testifying. Okay. I wonder why she used Brittany then, if Brittany was a cousin. But anyway, what I was saying is that I tend to believe what Rashona is saying in this book. I mean, she was there forever. But I want to know, like, what do y'all think about her relationship with Andrea? Like, was it just a steady godmother relationship? Do we think that if this stuff was actually happening, was Andrea privy to the things that is happening? Did she interact in those actual encounters? Will we ever know? If it's not in this book, will we ever know? We also saw that there was a supposedly documentary that was going to come out that came out that R. Kelly's daughter said that he violated her too. But I didn't really even see where it was previewed. Like, I didn't see the documentary. I just saw a trailer about it that he had violated his daughter. So, and then she came back out and was like, I don't hate my dad. You know, we just move on. I still love my dad, but he still needs to be accountable for the things that he did. So, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. We'll continue to read. That was kind of the last story for the night, is to talk about this. But there was an interview that she did that I do have, and this is the latest interview that she did. It was on an app, not a major state TV station. Oh, well, no wonder. Did you see it, Harlem? I didn't never I didn't never pursue it. So I want to take a look if this internet allows us to do it. Just some bits and pieces of this interview that she did. In this interview, she talks about Sparkle. She talks about how she left, actually got away from Robert. Yes, ma'am. You know it. Tell me more. Yeah. Now you know if Montana was here, he'd be on you too, right? But you be having the tea. Was it good? Was it long? Was Andrea in it? Like, can we still see it? Like, what'd she say? Let me see if I can get the this interview up really quick. Thank y'all for being here. I do appreciate it so much. Even with her detailing the relationship, I don't think she was 13 or 14. So she's saying, so let me ask you this, Unique. So she's saying she was 15 when he penetrated, but prior to that, she came in at 12, 13, he started grooming her. That's when he started like touching on her, doing things other than penetrating her, everything but penetrating her at age 13, 14, 13 to 14. And then at 15 is when he says she's ready for that. So where do we think the discrepancy is? Do we think that maybe she's just, maybe the timeline is wrong? But I mean, she went there at 12. So a lot of things obviously took place. Maybe she's getting crossed between those ages. But again, I mean, I still tend to believe that what she's saying is true, that these things happen to her. Even with, oh, okay, that's Unique. All right, let me see if I can get it. Give me just a second, y'all. Bridget, you still here or you gone? He be easing out on us. There it is. So we'll see if this plays. So while we're trying to get this up, does anybody watching the Super Bowl tomorrow? And if so, who y'all going? Who y'all wanting to win? Who y'all think is gonna win? So for me, I'm not like a sports person. I don't watch it all the time. But when it comes to like in basketball, when they have the playoffs, or football, when they have the Super Bowl, I'll be trying to say who I think will win. And the reason I think these people, I'm going for New England because Cardi B. That's the only reason, because of Cardi B, and her man is on the team and they're going to win the game. Just like I said, they would win the game to get to the Super Bowl. So who y'all think is going to take it tomorrow? All right, so I got it. Let me see if y'all can see it. Hi, baby. They said happy birthday on here now. Yeah, Harlem did. Okay, so I'm sharing. Let me see what she's saying. Oh, okay. So let me screen share. Share. Okay, so I just want to go in bits and pieces of this interview to see what you guys think, and just let's just listen to it. It's in there.
For so long, this was like a huge secret, and I had been groomed to, never admit this, never, make it to be true about us. So I was scared more than anything.
How did you meet R. Kelly? Your aunt, you come from a musical family. You talk in the book about how your dad was a musician who wound up doing some music with R. Kelly. Your aunt is the artist we know as Sparkle.
Yes.
How did you wind up meeting R. Kelly yourself as a 12, 13-year-old girl?
I was introduced to Robert by my aunt Sparkle. Again, we were a very musically inclined family. We were all, kind of like at the peak of our success during that time. And she gave me the introduction to Rob.
There's a part in your book where you talk about some of the advice that your aunt Sparkle would give you, which to me struck me as a very strange thing to say to a girl who had not yet experienced puberty or her cycle. And she talked about what you ought to do in terms of grooming. And we don't have to get into graphic details about the way you should groom yourself in that area. When she's telling you that that's something you should think about, and you were so young, what were you thinking? Because that sounded to me like grooming.
Yes, I didn't look at it as grooming during the time. She was somebody who I looked up to. She was always, the star in the family, very beautiful, very gifted. So when she, advised me to do things like that, I didn't look at it as grooming. I just thought, that's the way to keep up with yourself. So I wasn't looking at it like that at the time.
But what about her telling you things about the way to prepare yourself to have relations with a man like that? When she was telling you that as a 12-year-old, what were you thinking?
I was confused. I mean, I was, going through puberty at the time. I was getting into boys. So, I thought I was learning the ropes of life, of, intimacy and things like that. Like it was a little, I don't know if it was embarrassing, but it was a little uncomfortable. But I just thought that, this is the upkeep when you're going into womanhood, like that happens at this age.
Your aunt, who I should note, has issued statements denying that she attempted to groom you in any way. I will note that is something that she has said publicly. She also, at one point, advised you when you were starting to, as you said, become popular. You had this group that you were part of, that you were the rapper for the group. And she said that you ought to try to make R. Kelly your godfather, and that to make him your godfather, you ought to go into the studio and sit on his lap. What did you interpret her to mean by that? And then what happened when you actually did go in and sit on his lap at the studio?
When she initially said that, it was very odd for me. Like, I had never sat on his lap or even thought to do that. So, I kind of felt like, okay, maybe that's the cool thing to do. Maybe that's, the warm way to introduce what I needed to say. So I, did what she advised. And when I did it, I was nervous to do it, but I followed through. And when I did it, he didn't really have a reaction to it. He seemed to be very comfortable from what I remember.
Okay, just really quick. So at this point, even like I have to agree with this lady, and she's saying the same thing that we said, that if in fact what Rashona is saying is that her aunt told her to sit on R. Kelly's lap and rub his head and ask him to be the godfather, then isn't that also a form of grooming, along with the things of before she even got her monthly, telling her things about that stuff if she wants to be in a sexual relationship or an intimate relationship? Isn't that a part of grooming her? And another point I wanted to make was she says that when she did it, he just acted like that was a normal thing. But we have to remember that Aaliyah was also there because Sparkle came and did backup singing for Aaliyah. So then that raised a question for me, that if she was in the studio with Aaliyah doing the backup singing, and we hear the stories of what could have allegedly possibly happened. We know they did get married, all that stuff at a young age. And Sparkle saw these things going on with Aaliyah. Do we think, and this is just me playing devil's advocate, do we think that because she saw what was going on with Aaliyah, I'm gonna bring Rashona on and put her onto the game so that maybe something like that? I don't know. It just posed a question. It just raised a red flag in knowing that she was in the studio with Aaliyah, and we know the story behind Aaliyah and how they were married and how young Aaliyah was at that time. We can carry on. Let me see what I missed some comments over here. Even with her, let me see. Even with her detailing the relationship, I don't think she was okay. We've said that. Drea and the 3 kids were on there. Oh, all 3 of the kids were on there. Okay. Unique said, I also watched the tape. The girl didn't look 13, 14 either. I'm just keeping it real. I understand that. I respect that. And you're not the only one that has said that either. So, I mean, it's just a matter of opinion and what you see. You want to come in? Hold on, you guys, just real quick. It's my thought. Just 1 second. Sorry about that, y'all. It was my baby. And then Unique said, also, I don't think the girl. Okay, we said that. Am I missing it? Am I going backwards? Wright said, I never watched it. How old do you think she was? And then Unique says, when she says she met him at 12, people automatically say he was with her at 12. But she even say that they weren't together at 12 years old. She said it didn't happen like that. She said in the beginning, it was all like, this is a family friend, and it was all just, it was real clean. It wasn't at 12 years old. It didn't start till she was 13. And then she said in the book, either 14 or 15, she said 15 penetration. Other things were being done before the age of consent in Illinois at 17, and she was not 17, so it was wrong. That's right. So she was saying that they did everything but penetrate. He did everything but penetrate her until she was 15. And at 15, he told her she was ready. And so that's when. But by that time, he had penetrated her, and when she did get 17 or 18, she's hooked now. She's all in. I mean, she's definitely all in. She had to like pray herself away from him so that she wouldn't have emotions for him. And then yes, absolutely grooming. If she is telling her what to do and she doesn't know it's grooming, she's been doing it for a while. Okay, Unique, is your channel under your name? And then who is this? Black Jesus. Question: the sitting on the lap thing sounds familiar. The Clary said the thing said that maybe the same thing. Welcome to the channel, Black Jesus. Is that right? I'll just call you Black. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate that. So he said the question. The sitting on the lap sounds familiar. The Clary said the same thing. Trying to recall. It's been so long. I've been so far away from this. I don't remember, but it sounds right about that, about the lap thing. But again, I would even put it out there that for me, I think that Sparkle was around. She was in the studio. She knew, probably allegedly, what was going on with R. Kelly and Aaliyah, as young as Aaliyah was, and she saw that happening. She sees Shona want to come up. R. Kelly was given was all into Aaliyah, getting her music out, getting her, like, he was bringing her up in the game. So maybe she just thought that's how Shona can come up in this game if she sits on his lap, rub his head, and say, I want you to be my godfather, right? So let's continue to listen. I got to get my charger too, because I'm just gonna hit play and go run and get my charger, and then we'll stop it in a minute. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like as you come in. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 10K, y'all. We're almost there. And we appreciate it. Hitting the like button keeps us in the algorithm. It's a free way to support the channel, and I am grateful. And then Harlem, 17 is still statutory. That is a crime. Game over. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is what it is. Oh, that was right. But yeah, that's right. It is. I think, but 17 was the consent in Chicago, though. But neither here nor there, because it happened at age 13. The grooming started at age 13. Started telling her about her body, where to touch her, the sounds on the phone conversations that they started having. She said they started having phone X calls on a regular. So not only was Sparkle grooming her, then he came and jumped right in and started doing that after, that year of getting all in with the family, being a family friend. And then it seemed to have happened from 13 on. So let's listen a little bit more to this part of it. And I'm gonna go get the charger. Oh, I gotta go back over here.
And you were how old at that
Oh, did it go back off?
time?
I was about 12 or 13 at that time.
And how long was it between that time when he becomes your godfather? Did you start having regular phone calls with him that you in the book describe as almost, he's like another friend of yours? You're talking to him on the phone like you would talk with a boy at school.
Right. So he did have a busy schedule, but anytime time permitted, like I would be calling or he would be calling, and it just became, an open line for communication. Like I would be trying to see if he was playing basketball for the night or going to be at the studio. That was kind of like routine for his schedule. So that's how our communication kind of unfolded into something a little bit more personal.
And it wasn't just talking on the phone. He was taking you out to eat. He was letting you play basketball with him on private courts. Was he sort of treating you like you were a friend? I mean, this is a man in his late 20s and you were 12.
Right. And that's another thing I think is very important when people are still humiliating me. I was a 14-year-old girl and Robert is 18 years older than me. So not only was he somebody I looked up to, we did have a lot in common. And I was used to being around the industry. So the things, you know, seemed and felt normal at the
And I will note that, you know, and 9 years older than you in her theatrical age, right? Her sort of stage age, she's 9 years older than you, but in real life, she was 16 years older than you. She was your favorite aunt. So, and because you were so close, is that what made it seem not odd to have another adult her age who admitted that she had actually been intimate with R. Kelly? Is that why it didn't seem weird to you to hang out with an adult?
It did not seem weird at all. You know, Robert was introduced to me as a friend and family. And in the very beginning, that's how he handled, you know, the situation, you know. So I trusted him, I trusted her, and I was just happy to be a part, you know, of that environment.
How long was it before the going out to the Cheesecake Factory and playing basketball and going to the studio to be able to listen into the work that he was doing? How long before it shifted from that to him having very sexual conversations with you on the phone?
It wasn't long at all. I can't remember an exact time frame, but it felt like seconds later, you know, the moment we became family or closer. The signs, I now can look back and see the signs of, you know, how soon and quickly things escalated.
And, you know, you describe in the book, and it's chilling the way it goes from you just talking about, you know, your grandmother explaining what to do when you first got your cycle to talking to Robert Kelly on the phone, and then him immediately going to, you know, very explicit conversations with you on the phone. How long before that became a physical relationship, and what happened? I can't even call it a relationship. You were a child. How long
Right.
before you were first assaulted by him?
The assault started when I was 13 years old. And, you know, it started out with phone sex. It started out with, you know, his tone changing over the phone, or maybe the time of the calls or the time of day were a little bit, you know, more like, are you alone? It started out very, very subtle. And then it became sexual shortly after.
Did you tell anyone?
I did not.
Why not?
I was not comfortable speaking to anyone about it for my own self. And also, before he got to the point of feeling comfortable enough to do that with me, he made sure that I understood the power of secrecy and how much it would ruin his life, his career, his family if I repeated this to anyone. And I also.
So I wanted to make a point. So she asked, you know, why didn't she, you know, tell anyone that he was doing that? And it's absolutely what she's saying. If what she's saying is true, that I believe that, you know, he took from 12 to 13 to get to know the family, to get in with the family, to get them comfortable. And then he started during that 12-year-old to 13 time, he started, you know, he taking her in as godfather, doing regular normal things, getting that her to trust him is how it started out, is what it sounds like. And then once she started really trusting him, then he started, like, it was like levels to it, right? It was moves to it, like little baby steps, that from her story, that it was like little baby steps that he was kept, you know, just moving from one stage of this to the next stage till it went full blown when she was 15. So he kind of took his time with how he handled it still. But before the phone conversations happened, the actually conversations started happening over the phone. At that time, she was already into trusting him. They were having conversations between him and her privately. She had her own phone line for some time. So what he noticed was that she was when he noticed that that he had kind of reeled her in and she was really comfortable with him, then he would take it to a next step. That's just how I saw it. And then Rice says, none of this unique. This is typical playbook stuff. You can't tell anyone. What we have is a secret. I'll get in trouble if you tell. Need proof female teachers say the exact same things to young boys.
Also felt like I would lose him, as a friend or as a person.
And I mean, I think people really have to understand, and what you do so well in your book is you really take us to where not just a child, but where a child in that era would be. Because everyone was seeing Salt and Pepper. They were seeing all these other young people who were becoming stars and celebrities. And the idea that one of these stars would be your friend and give you an opportunity when you were already a performer, you were already in a group. You really walk us through how you were pulled into this world and felt, sort of privileged almost to be a part of it. But the exploitation was unsubtle. It was unsubtle. And did you get the sense that your Aunt Sparkle, who had been so explicit with you about things that were sexual, did you get the sense that perhaps if you told her that she might be, I don't know, envious, that she might be mad at you? Why wouldn't you share it with her, since you two were so close and talked about things that were so kind of adult?
There were a lot of times that I wanted to. I did feel like she and I were friends in that way. And I was really close a lot of times and feeling like I could speak to her about this, like it was a crush. She kind of saw Robert and I bubbly, when we would all be hanging around. But when he groomed me a little bit more and conditioned me a little bit more, then I felt comfortable, sharing that with her. I thought it was just best to honor what he was saying and just strictly keep it between he and I.
So in 2008, R. Kelly does this interview with our friend Teray. And Teray just explicitly asks him, because you write in the book that R. Kelly had a reputation, that there were rumors about him liking, quote unquote, young girls. This was not something, that was completely unknown to people, at least in Chicago, in the community. People kind of knew, right, that there was something about him having a proclivity for young girls. So in this interview that takes place, I believe, after the allegations against him went away, because you did not testify that he done this to you, and he was able to escape those charges. And I will note for the audience, this is literally the same time that Jeffrey Epstein was offending, also against young girls in New York and in Florida. So these things are happening contemporaneously for those of you who are following, because we've been talking about Epstein in the show, Rashona. Let me play a little bit of this R. Kelly interview with Teray.
Wondering about you. Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
Girls who are teenagers.
19?
19 and younger.
I have some 19-year-old friends, but I don't like anybody illegal, if that's what we're talking about, underage.
Some people think that you like underage girls. What do you say to that?
Well, those people that don't know Robert, they don't know me, so I usually don't get into what people think about me, because all my career, even before the trial, people have had their opinions about Robert, and that's probably because it has a lot to do with me. I kind of shy away from the crowd, because I'm always in the studio, digging deep into the basement all the time of my house, creating music. So, people, when they don't know you and they can't really touch you like they could someone else, they seem to form opinions or have thoughts about you that they like to, think.
We can leave it there. When you saw that interview, Rashona, at what stage was your relationship with R. Kelly in 2008 when that interview happened?
We were very locked in, as you would say. We were very acquainted. We were in a relationship, so to speak.
So when you heard him say that he doesn't like anyone illegal, and you knew that your relationship with him began when you were 13, did you confront him about it?
Oh, I would never have done that. But in my mind, I confronted him many times. In my mind, I had so many questions of, if this was so real and so normal, why couldn't you speak the truth? Why did you have to, put some numbers on the age of women that you really are attracted to?
So that's the Joy Reid show. Shout out to them. If you guys want to see the rest of the entire interview, it's about over. You can go over there and see it. I just wanted to kind of, especially get to the part where she had to look at him, have that conversation, and show those things, because I wanted to see what her reaction was as she was watching him see that. I do want to get to the point. I want to get to the part where she asked her, how did she leave him? How did she get away from him? Welcome everybody. Yeah. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for stopping by. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button. So let me see if we can kind of move it up a little bit, and then we can be done with this one. It's about over anyway.
In Europe, you guys were popular in Germany, but you were a baby. And I don't think anyone could look at that face, that baby face. You're the girl in the middle, I believe, in the video on the left, and on the right on the album, you are to the right. But you could see you're a little kid,
Yeah.
Are you able to, at this point, and this book really does, I think it is part of your healing process. You write in the book, you're not keeping anyone's secrets anymore. And this isn't about going after anyone. It's about your own healing process. Have you owned, the reality that you were a child and that you were not at fault for any of this?
It took a lot of time for me to get to that point, because the world never treated me or saw me as a victim. So it was very difficult for me to see that for myself. But, when you grow up, you become a mother and you understand age. And, when I look at that picture, the things that people say and the way they treat me, they don't treat me like I was that person. They blame me for Robert's sexual preferences and fetishes, when this was a person I lost my virginity to. I knew nothing about sex. I grew into his sexual behaviors. So to feel treated that way, to feel disrespected that way, it took a long time for me to see myself as a victim.
Yeah. When you saw the Gayle King interview, and this was in 2019, and again, I'm always sort of struck by kind of the timing of this. In 2019 is the year Jeffrey Epstein was finally prosecuted at a federal level for what he was doing. And Gayle King that same year interviews R. Kelly, and he has this meltdown, where she's saying, Robert, and he's jumping around the studio because he's been caught. And so many women at that point have come forward. It's not just you alone. There are lots and lots of women, and many of whom were also teenagers at the time he started abusing them. When you saw that video, did it give you a sense of vindication? Look, people know who he is now, and his reaction. If you put it up there, Jason, you can just keep the sound down. When you saw that, did you feel vindicated?
Well, first, I thought it was very theatrical of him. It was a typical, moment for him to overly express that he wasn't this monster that he truly was. And when I heard the girls speak also, I knew everything, every way he coached them, and here he was again, still not taking accountability, just still trying to put the attention on something totally different than the actual matter at hand.
Do you hate R. Kelly?
I don't hate him. I hate what he did, but I don't hate him.
You have. Oh no, please! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. That was it.
You have taken what happened to you, and not only written this book, which I think is incredibly brave, by the way, but you've also decided to try to work to help other young women. You formed an organization whose goal is to help young women who may be in the situation that you were in. Can you talk a little bit about Project Refine?
Yes, Project Refine is really just a way for me to turn my pain into purpose. It's something I'm very passionate about. Like in our communities, we don't teach for signs of pedophilia or molestation. It's, kind of like kept a secret. And so I just want to bring awareness. I just want to create like a platform for young girls and women to just be themselves, have some open dialogue about, growing and really prospering and just really teaching, the morals that we should stand by to protect our children.
Yeah. And I mean, it's coincidental, right? That we're seeing, these Epstein revelations come out. And many of these girls were your age, the same age that you were. And it wasn't just, the young Black girls who wanted to be stars and were around R. Kelly. It was the young white girls and girls who were impoverished in Florida who wanted to be models. Like it just felt like this era was an era when there was so little respect for girls, for children. When you look back at this era, do you ever think, wow, this was a dumpster fire for girls because girls weren't respected?
It really was. I definitely agree with that. And it's just when it's celebrities or people of power, they're just able, and it's so much easier for them to get away with so much more. And I think that if we held them to the same standard that we would hold a regular person to, like a regular dad or a regular friend of the family, whether, on both genders, then things would definitely be a lot different.
Yeah, indeed. And I will note that it wasn't just girls, because there were lots of young boys who were also abused, whether it was in some of these churches and church parishes, whether it was also in the industry. We know the stories of young male models who were also exploited. This whole era felt like we have to rethink everything that we believed about the 1990s. I want to ask about your musical career. This all started as you wanted to be both a basketball star and a music star. And that's where this all began, your dreams of singing and performing.
I hope you can take accountability now. Work, and I just want to heal souls through my pain. Like, I understand now why I went through what I went through. I finally did the work, and I'm just here to be a blessing to those people who have gone through similar things like I have.
Rashona Landfair, the book is called Who's Watching Shorty? It is a harrowing read, but I love that you wrote it so honestly and openly. I recommend everyone do read this book just to understand and to re-understand and introduce yourself to this era, because we remember it so fondly in so many ways. But for so many people like Rashona, it was a very, very difficult and painful era. And we're finding out in real time how rough and bad it was for lots and lots of people. If you had one message that you could send to R. Kelly right now, what would it be, Rashona?
I hope you can take accountability now, and I hope you understand how many people you truly hurt.
Rashona Landfair, thank you, sister. You're welcome here anytime.
I think I missed it.
This whole era felt like girls and Fine.
Yes, Project Refine is really
what happened to you.
Oh, I can't find it. But anyway, that's the bulk of the interview that I wanted to share with you guys. She talks about a lot. Oh, what happened? There it is. She talks about a lot. You're a weirdo, son. Get help and don't drop the soap. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna end with that tonight. We'll come back on tomorrow. Oh, wait, we're off tomorrow, Sunday. We won't be live tomorrow, but we'll come back on Monday, our regular time, and continue the conversations, continue talking about what's trending, because there's so much. I was gonna go there about Donald Trump, but I'm just not even going there. Not right now. So thank y'all for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your opinions, whether they were agreed with mine or not. Thank you for giving your opinions, and that we can have these conversations respectfully, because that's what we do over here, is have respectful conversations, whether we agree or disagree. we are an adult. We are adults, and we can agree to disagree. So I appreciate every last one of you guys. If you didn't hit the hit the like button on your way in, hit the button on the way out, and we'll see you guys again on Monday. On Monday, y'all have a happy Sunday. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you watch it. And I'm gonna go for now. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Good night. Thank you, Bright. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.